to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Razabani IFL TV proudly sponsored by Everlast with me, Matt Macklin. Matt, firstly, how's the missus, by the way?
She's good. She's ready to go now. About 2 weeks off our due date, but I suppose it could happen today, couldn't it? I hope it doesn't. I'll have to drive straight back. But no, we're due in 2 weeks, and she's good and healthy, and yeah, good to go.
So let's say theoretically tomorrow night you're on comms, you get a call, or you get a text. My contractions are getting worse. What are you doing? Dropping the mic?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Adam Azim. Everyone's talking about this kid, and I know they've been talking about him for a little while now, but sometimes is it a bit too much? Sometimes the pressure that you're applying on someone so young?
Well, look, there's two ways of looking at it. Ultimately, if you want to be a star, then that's, you want people talking about you. You want people hyping you up and saying big things. And by the way, we're only hyping him up because of his performances. If he was going in there and struggling with guys at a certain level or winning but not looking the part, then we wouldn't be hyping him. We're hyping him because he's blasting these guys out of there. Now, it's a modest opponents to where we expect him to get to, but he's a young kid who's only just turned pro, so they have stepped him up steadily, but he's literally just blasting them out of there. So he's obviously far too good for the level he's boxing at. But you don't want to throw them in too deep and get a good kid ruined, because he's a prospect. He's very much a work in progress. I said it earlier, years ago. I remember there was a guy called Francisco Bajardo, Mexican, American, or I think he was a Mexican, based out with Golden Boy. I'm like 2001, 2002. This kid was like, they were expecting to be world champion in like 12 fights or something. He was literally the big thing, and they rushed him and they got him beaten, and then they got him beaten again, and he never got there because they ruined it. They messed the job up. So you got a guy like Adam Azim who's a talent. He's a precocious talent. He's got the amateur pedigree. He's won everything as a junior, but he's still very much a work in progress, not just from a development point of view, but even his man strength. He's physically maturing still. He's not there yet, but they're bringing him along. They're building his profile. They're creating the hype. He's obviously working in the gym hard. You can see improvements every time, and it's a journey. And so far, he's looked $1 million, and we can only talk about what we see. Is he going to have tougher tests along the way? Absolutely. But so far, he's literally blasting guys out of there that, have been proven to a level, So, and you don't want to do a Francisco Bajardo and get too excited and throw him in too deep too soon. And then what'll happen is then the kid will never fulfill his potential. He'll never develop and grow into the fighter that he should have. So, bringing a fighter through, there's expertise involved. It's not just a case of, you can't just keep giving him guys that he blasts out and learns nothing from, and you don't want to throw him in too deep too soon where you're getting beaten, or he's in brutal fights and then you knock his confidence, or he's washed up. So it's getting the balance right.
Just moving away from the show, Matt, I know you're short for time. Just going on the Conor Benn subject now. I don't really want to talk about what's going on and what's happened, because we've talked enough about it, and we just got to wait for the findings to come out and the results to come out. Eddie Hearn's mentioned Manny Pacquiao's name. Why is he talking about Conor Benn Pacquiao, someone who's retired, who's achieved, he's an 8 division champion and multi-millions of pounds? Why is Eddie mentioning Pacquiao? Is that clout? Is it clickbaiting?
Well, it's the same reason they were making the Eubank fight, because it's money. Like if you're talking about developing a guy and building him and getting rankings and improving him, and you know what I mean, you look for contenders, you look to try and climb the ladder. But if you're looking for guys with names, it's to make money, isn't it? Because those crossover names will appeal to more casual fans, So yeah, and I get it. Like we all want to make money, and every fighter definitely wants to make money. It's professional boxing, not amateur boxing. So you can't knock someone who wants to make money, but if you really believe in his abilities to become a world champion, go all the way, become a world champion and defend it and all that, then your strategy for developing him would be different. You'd be looking for the right fights where it looks like they're just looking for names that are going to cash out and make money.
Even if you look at Samuel Vargas and Chris Algieri, these are fighters way past their best. Pacquiao's retired, and a lot of people on social media like, why is he mentioning Pacquiao? Pacquiao's retired, and how much are you going to pay Pacquiao? 2, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million? Pacquiao's been earning tens of millions in his last couple of fights.
I'd like to see Conor Benn become British champion. You know what I mean? Become British champion, then become European champion, then look to fight a world top 10 fighter. That's in his prime. Not a former world champion who's 3 years past it, because, a fighter, look, any sport, in football they talk about half a yard, the difference. In boxing you're talking micro split seconds. You're talking fractions of a second is the difference between doing that or doing that, getting hit with a shot. So yeah. Look, and by the way, I'm not knocking the job. They've done a brilliant job with him. You do need to fight some guys that are a little bit past it, that are a big name, that have got a big experience. They're experienced in their crafting. They can maybe give you a few problems, and then you blast them out of there because your youth and your energy and all that. But so the Algieri fight and all these guys, that's the right thing to do. But then you got to throw in a younger guy as well, who's maybe still current and still in his prime, not at that level, maybe not at the level where those guys once were, but certainly a British champion. Let's win the British title. Let's see, is he good enough to win a British title? Is he good enough to become European champion? If he goes in there and he wins the British title and he blasts the guy out, and then you think, wow, he's beyond this level, let's look for the European title now. And in between, maybe you fight a former world champion who's a few years past his best, but he's a big name and he'll give you that bit of experience. Again, we talk about building guys. We talk about, like Adam Azim said about Francisco Bajardo. They messed that job up with Bajardo. Bajardo should have been a world champion. Could have probably been a Hall of Famer if the job was done properly. He had that kind of ability, but because they messed up the development, they rushed this kid. They got him beaten. He never got there. But also you can kind of, if you can fight too many old guys as well, one after the other, and then you get into bad habits, or you start believing your own hype and you think you're better than you are, and then you're coming against someone who's fresh and young and who's ambitious themselves and who isn't past it, and all of a sudden your overconfidence can be a worse thing for you. But I don't know, look, Conor Benn, he's exciting, he can bang. Obviously that whole situation, I don't know, is it even concluded yet? I don't know. They're saying it has. I don't know, like what's gone on there, to be honest. I don't really want to comment on it. But I don't know. It's frustrating. I think it's just a frustrating situation all round, and I think it's a bad look for boxing.
Andy Joshua, Jermaine Franklin, press conference was done yesterday. Good opponent for Joshua to come back in?
Yeah, well, I think so. Definitely, tough guy. When the distance there with Dillian. Listen, some people thought he beat Dillian. It was a close fight, and he'll be better for that fight. I think this Franklin that fights Joshua will be better than the Franklin that fought Dillian, because he'll have learned from that fight. Listen, Joshua, we don't know where Joshua is at in his head. Is he still motivated to is he really, we're saying money. Well, money, when you've already got lots of money, probably isn't a great motivator to keep boxing. Yeah, it is to sign for the fight, but to go to the gym every day and push yourself hard, and to be in the trenches in a fight, to come back to your corner after getting buzzed or winded, or a couple of rounds haven't gone your way, like, where's the motivation to dig? Because if it's money and you've already got loads of money, it's probably not a great motivator, because boxing's tough, it's hard, and you might just think, so I don't know. We'll see.
Just finally, sticking with money, you can have all the money in the bank, you can have all the houses, you can have a great family, but if you're not happy inside, it could be a problem. We saw a video of Kell Brook go viral a couple of weeks ago, Matt. You're an ex-professional fighter, you retired once upon a time. How did you cope, and could you understand what's going through kind of Kell's mind at the moment?
Look, happiness is an inside job. But the problem is, everyone always looks for something outside of themselves to fill the void within. You know, whether that's an achievement, it's an amount of money, it could be a relationship. You know, happiness is inside us, all of us, isn't it? You know, so you hear people talking about the hole in the soul. They're trying to fill that hole, and like obviously boxing can do that for you for a long time, and because you're on this journey, then I'll be happy when I've achieved this, and then you're climbing, you're pursuing that achievement, thinking when I get there I'll be really happy, and you achieve it, and you are high for the night, the next day, maybe a week, and then it goes, and then there's the low, and then it's like, I'll definitely be happy when I achieve this. And that kind of pursuit of feeling good or achieving drives you on to it. It drives you to achieve it, that ambition. But, you know, ambition, you could say, is a form of greed. So you're never going to be happy. You know, ambition, greed in the form of ambition. They say it here. So like, what happens is, you get that and you achieve that and you're happy but it's short-lived. It never feels how you feel inside. So Cal has to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and be happy with who he sees. You know, achieving boxing or money is not going to get him there, you know. So look, he's probably, boxing probably did that for him, or it certainly gave him the illusion that it was doing it for him. It was a distraction for how he felt. You know, because he was so focused on the boxing, so focused on the gym, so focused on food and so focused on making weight that was his obsession was there. But now that's gone, he's left with himself and his own thoughts and his own feelings, and you know, maybe he's got to do a lot of work on himself. He's got to look and think, how am I feeling? What, you know, why don't I feel enough without the boxing? You know, and he has to look at that.
Matt, he's talked about coming back and he wants that buzz again, but eventually
he'll be in the same place in a year or two, and in fact it'll be worse, because then he'll have the fight. He'll probably get, you know, if it's someone decent, he'll probably get beaten because he's not the fighter he was, and he's older now, and his reflexes will be shot and all the rest of it. And then he'll be where he is now, but he'll also have the regret that he came back and lost to someone he shouldn't have. So, you know, retirement's tough. Retirement's tough when you're 65, because you stop. You know, it's everything you've already done. It's your purpose when you get up in the morning. A lot of the time, it's your identity as well. So if he's not Cal Brook the boxer, who is he? Who's Cal Brook without the boxing? And that's his personal journey that he has to go on. Every fighter struggles when they retire, because you're what, 30 or 35, and all of a sudden you're like, well, who am I now? What am I going to do now? And sometimes having made lots of money can be a curse, not a blessing, because all right, you don't have to go up and work or do this and that, but sometimes the fact that you have to go and work and you have to go and earn a living to provide for your family kind of gives you motivation, do you know what I mean, to do that, where sometimes the ones who make the most money struggle the hardest, because now they think, well, I've got loads of money, what's my purpose in life?
Matt Macklin, IFL TV, thank you very much.
See if someone grabbed up my wife for saying completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.